you're listening to the Mackay T Show podcast. Here are your hosts, Ryan Mackay and T Davis.
This is the Mackay T Show. This is the Mackay T Show. We talk movies and TV shows, sports and world news, coasting like on a world cruise. Hosted by Brian Mackay and T Davis. Yeah, you can't tame us. We're going to the top, we're becoming famous.
What time is it?
It's time for the Mackay T Show.
What time is it?
I said it's time for the Mackay T Show.
Welcome back to the Mackay T Show podcast. T, the NBA playoffs are getting good. The games are getting competitive. Western Conference, Golden State is pretty much taking control of that series with Portland, and they've done so in the last two games without Kevin Durant, who has been sidelined. And then in the last game, they did it without Steve Kerr, who the illness has still not been told, to my knowledge, it's still not been out there publicly what's going on. But Go ahead.
You know he had the bad back, right?
Right.
And then this back might be acting up again.
Yeah, and well, I'm thinking it has something to do with that, just complication, because he did allude to the fact on Twitter, for people who have to have back surgery, basically, I pray for you, because, complications can arise, and I think just about everything that can happen has happened to him in his recovery.
So yeah, they don't need him. They'll be fine without him. And what's his name? He don't coach in the playoffs before.
Mike Brown.
Mm-hmm. So they'll be fine. They don't even need Kevin Durant right now. They can just rest him too.
Yeah, and I think that's what's a good luxury to have. The fact that they don't have to play him right now. They can rest him up, let him get good and healthy. Because coming down the pipe, even though I still believe they're going to come out the Western Conference, they got some challenges. And this is the other part I like about the playoffs. The playoffs, I actually tune in a lot more, and I actually see teams that might necessarily be on the West Coast that play later in the evening, and I don't necessarily see during the regular season. I already knew this about this guy that I'm about to speak on, but in the Spurs Grizzlies series, Kawhi Leonard is special. He went on a stretch to kind of force overtime the other night where he scored 16 straight points, and not one person on Memphis' team could do anything about it. I mean, he was just lighting them up. I mean, it was something special to watch. Memphis winds up winning the game in overtime, and, that's beside the point. But, I mean, Kawhi Leonard, I can see why now you got a lot of people out there saying that, he's the next one up as far as superstar. He's the next best all-around player after LeBron.
Well, until he get out of San Antonio, ain't nobody gonna talk about it. So.
No, because he's just gonna be a zombie, and be the Spurs way there.
Right.
Game of Zones reference for
anybody.
Please
go to Game of Zones and watch it on Bleacher Report. It's hilarious.
It's coming out. There's a new episode every Thursday throughout the playoffs. You will enjoy it. Over on the East side, you got Boston evening up the series with Chicago. Rajon Rondo being out the last two games has really helped Boston. It's, kind of freed up Isaiah Thomas, because for all Rondo's flaws, he has been very, very disruptive defensively against Thomas and the other guards for Boston this series. And with him out, and he's even destructive, being out on the bench because he tries to trick
running
people.
around tricking people. Yeah. I don't know. That's so foolish. That's all it is. Foolish.
Well, so with him being out, Boston's able to come back and tie the series up 2-2. I said it to a couple people yesterday before that game started. Whoever wins this game is going to win the series. If Chicago goes back goes back up 3-1, they're gonna close it out. But now that Boston has tied it
Well,
up, I think Boston has a good chance to go ahead and finish this off.
Boston only expended too much energy in this series, though. And they need to go ahead and finish as quickly as possible.
Physically and emotionally.
Right. Cleveland over here about to have some rest time. And Lord knows how this next series is going to go. Even though Cleveland didn't just run through Indiana.
No.
They gave up too many points, in my humble opinion. They need to learn how to guard somebody. But, whatever, they probably going to win. I don't see them unless everybody seems to be having an injury. So unless they have a major injury to one of the big players, Love, Irvin, or LeBron, they'll win.
Yeah, that was my next place I was going. I was going to talk about them sweeping Indiana, but more so, not. I mean, obviously, like you just said, that's going to give them a lot of rest, and Cleveland be ready to go for whoever they got in the next series. But more so on Indiana's side, a lot of people are already pretty much envisioning Paul George and the Lakers purple and gold after this sweep. And you being the resident Laker fan, how would you feel about having Paul George aboard?
I don't know. You can't be running around talking about you need the last shot and throwing your little teammates under the bus counting them.
And honestly, like it didn't show that it caused them any kind of strife. So that must be good on their coaching staff. Nate McMillan and them must have a good handle on things because he literally was calling teammates by name.
And then he said, and I told, what's the guy that blew him LeBron's ear?
Lance Stevenson.
I told Lance Stevenson, because we knew they was going to double, I told him to flash to his nail, but he didn't do it. I was like, oh Lord, he's just throwing everybody under the bus. But those are older players. We got youngins. I don't know. You don't know how younger players are going to take that.
Yeah, I think if Paul comes, somebody else got to come with him. I feel like you can't just have one veteran guy come in like that, superstar with all them young cats. You got to get Magic in them. Got to pull the
my
rabbit out
concern
the
is
hat.
that they might take a gamble with Carmelo.
I honestly, the more the series keeps going the way it is in Boston and Chicago, I think Carmelo's eventually going to be headed to Boston.
They could have got him or what's his name? The dude that played for the Butler.
Jimmy.
Like, remember, talk to them.
The word is that Jimmy turned wasn't gonna have that. Like now he don't have no trade clause in his contract.
That's what he would have been gone.
Right.
How about that? How about you don't have no trade clause and typically people say whatever, but then when they get to the team, they realize, oh, Boston ain't that bad.
Right. So it's gonna be interesting to see where all those dominoes fall as the off season gets here. But staying with basketball.
But I thought, what's his name still got one more year though?
What was that? George.
Oh, yeah. He won't be going nowhere till next summer.
And see, that's why I feel like it's everybody talking about him being in purple and gold. Y'all still got one more year of him being in Indiana because LA's not gonna trade any of what they have to get him.
Knowing that he want to come there, we can wait and let the youngest grow some more.
Correct. I mean, they even if they had him next year, they still wouldn't be that much better.
No, we will be just good enough to keep us from getting in the top 5, which is not what we want.
Well, staying with basketball, but moving over to the women's side, there was a blog post to come out, and I sent it to you, entitled, it was on the prettyaccomplished.com. I saw it because someone shared it on Facebook, someone I'm friends with, just because the girl who wrote the blog post is from my area. She's a high school player from here and wound up going to college over at East Carolina, named Dana Jones. The title of the article, of the blog post, was "What They Don't Tell You About Playing Overseas." And while she highlights the good in her mind, the good things as far as competition, being able to say you're a professional, things like that. She highlights a lot of what she perceived as being negative. And I know you had a chance to read it. And for our listeners, I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail. If you want to check it out, prettyaccomplished.com. And it's like the third blog post down once you get to the website. Or if you just want to type in the title, What They Don't Tell You About Playing Overseas, it'll come up in your search engine. But I wanted to slip of the tongue. But I wanted to get your thoughts on it because you actually played overseas for a couple of years before you joined the working force.
Well, that was working force. All of us are members of the working force unless you're unable to work because you're disabled. Just a little side note, people. When they say workforce, that's anybody that's able-bodied. Like, unless you can't work, then you're not a member. Whether you're working or not, you're still a member of the workforce when they do the numbers. Anyway,
and she completely shuts me down. Anyway, moving on.
I'm feeling like Paul George throwing you under the bus. And now that we got that established, it's all in how you take it. You're not over there mostly, unless you don't play it in the WNBA, or they can say that you got some kind of WNBA credential, whether that you played for 10 seconds, went to a trial, whatever. You're just going to be over there for the experience. You're not over there to make money. Like, typically you won't get rich again unless you playing in some of these bigger countries like Russia and some places like that. I went over there for the experience. You can't be nobody that's like she said in the article, she wished she could have took somebody with her. Now, some guys do that, but typically they are playing on bigger teams that can afford to accommodate, like putting up your wife or whatever, or a spouse, partner, whatever. Right. I say why. But I don't know. Nobody else want to leave America just to come and sit and babysit with you, because they're not gonna have anything to do.
Right.
Like while you practicing, while you can go to the gym, while you might want to hang out with your teammates, whatever it is, they're gonna be sitting either just watching you all the time at practice, unless they happen to be able to play. Then the coach might let them get out there and practice with y'all or something. But other than that, like the team typically will pay for your meals. Like I could go to this a restaurant and eat meals, and I don't know that they're gonna do that for your partner or your family or whoever. So then that's just gonna be money coming out of your pocket trying to feed somebody else, just so you can have some company. I don't know what. I don't know why she. You gotta know when you go over there that you ain't gonna know nobody. Cause when I went, I was the only American, and then you find a male that play for the men's team, because they used to have one American. Like Tracel was the guy when I went to Switzerland, and I hung out with him a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I would just get on the train and just ride the whole train up and down the line and just kind of see how the people lived, where the train was going. I would go for walks or whatever, but I read a lot, practice, hang out with your teammates, and get to see how the other culture lives. I don't know what really she expected. What did she? I wasn't clear on what she thought that they didn't tell you.
Yeah, she didn't clarify herself very well, honestly, in my opinion.
Because it's up your agent job is to make sure you're getting your checks, and then if you ain't getting paid, it's his or her job to be like, well, when Christmas comes, my player's going home and not coming back. Right. Or if they can make arrangements for you to leave earlier because they know you're not getting paid. But yes, that does happen where people, they don't pay you. But you got to remember, these are club sports. Where in America we have like high school basketball, you could be playing on a team with some kids that are in high school because it's a club sport, and if the club think that they get enough to play, then they'll put them on the team.
You said something about, and I know you and I have had this conversation before, so this is really why I'm asking. You talked about riding the rails and, seeing how the culture was there. How much of that was a plus for you? Did you enjoy going out and seeing the sights and experiencing another country like that?
I loved it. Like Switzerland, the country I happen to live in, was the home of the Olympic Museum. So I went to that and walked around. We went to Geneva. I enjoyed it. It's all in what perspective you have. If you think you're gonna live some kind of NBA lavish life, that's not gonna happen. Like they're gonna put you in a flat. Again, they're gonna make sure you eat, and you are in control of your physical activity. Because typically, they're not trying to run you to death. Now, I was on one team in Sweden where we did quite a bit of running, but other times it was just you just make sure you stay in shape. They had me a pass to a gym. I could go anytime I wanted, and I did spend quite a few hours in the gym just to break up the monotony of my day. But then once you get over there and find your rhythm, find the TV shows that come on, you make your little schedule and then you live your life.
I don't know if her article was meant to dissuade people who might be thinking about going overseas, but I just feel like if you go over there with the right mindset, and like you said, if you're not one of the people going to the Russian teams, the China team, people where the big money, the WNBA players are playing, the big superstars in that league are playing, go over there with the right mindset of you're continuing a sport that you clearly love, or hopefully love, if you want to play it. You're playing professionally. You are experiencing another country, getting to go overseas where a lot of people,
most people won't even leave America. Let me rephrase that. Most people won't even leave their state.
I was just about to say that they won't even leave. I mean, I know I've been around people who have not even, left their state before. When they came to, using Ole Miss as an example, because that's where I've worked. When they came to Ole Miss, we've had players who had never even left the state other than to come to Ole Miss, like say they were from Alabama or neighboring states like that. They never even left their state before, and here we are about to put them on an airplane, going here, going there, and it's a whole different experience for them.
There's people that haven't left their city. I was working with a person in Nashville, and we was talking, and they was like, "Oh," because I had mentioned about going to Atlanta, or coming from Atlanta. They're like, "Oh, I want to go to Atlanta." And I'm like, "What do you mean? Like Atlanta's about 3.5 hour drive from here. Why wouldn't you just get in the car and go?" Like this person had a vehicle. They also had a job because we were working together. It's like they had never really left Nashville. And I was like, okay. So you have to take it for what it is. You're not going to get rich, but it's better than being at home and working at some fast food restaurant or Lowe's or Home Depot or something and just staying at home in your comfort zone when you can get the experience of going to another country and playing basketball and making a little money.
Yeah.
If you get a chance to go overseas, don't worry about the money. Go for the experience and get a good agent so that they'll tell you all the stuff and they'll make sure you get paid and won't send you. Because agents know the countries that are typically atrocious for not paying. Like they know those places and they usually shy away from even dealing with those people. So maybe she had a bad agent.
Possibly. Do you have a chanting ranting for this week?
I do. I feel like, and I don't know enough about this situation. New stuff keep unfolding about my gator, and I know that people say he murdered. He was found guilty of murder, but they're appealing it, and now because of the state law that Hernandez has killed himself doing an appeal, now that is like null and void. The murder conviction. People stop with all these accusations when somebody can't defend themselves. Now it's like, oh, is he gay? Did he kill dude because he was a homosexual? And the guy said he was. No.
I know.
Huh?
I know. I know what you. Go ahead.
Yeah, and then well, did he murder Odin because he was gonna out him, and then now did he kill himself when he was in jail because somebody else was gonna out him? Now he's getting love on suicide watch. He can't defend himself. Let's not even go all through this. because we don't know. I wish he had written a book because it probably would have been quite interesting and a bestseller. But that's what I'm chatting and ranting about. And they do it all the time. When people die, they start bringing up all kinds of stuff and be like, okay, we could have discussed this when they were here, and they possibly could have said, no, that's not the case at all, or whatever. But I can't.
What's the movie with Chris Rock, Martin Lawrence? What they're all brothers and their daddy dies, and it's Death and a Funeral, I think.
Yes.
Yes.
The worst movie ever.
It's a remake of an old, obviously it's an old classic, but it's but I love it when it comes out at the funeral that their daddy
was homosexual. Yes.
Yeah, with the little midget guy.
Oh,
I'm sorry, that's politically incorrect of me. Little person.
Yes.
Gotta be
the small person.
Gotta be PC in this world. Even though I meant no harm. I'm sure I'll get it in the comment section next week.
That'll be all right.
Yeah, they sure will. But my Chantin Rantin has to do with the fast food industry. This is something that I have been on before, and I will be on to the end of time. I don't care if people think I'm right or wrong. You should have to have a high school diploma to work at a fast food restaurant.
Oh no!
I know what anybody's gonna say. Would nobody be working there if that was the case? But you know what? I'm just sick of the ignorance. And not all places, and I will get to that. There is one place, high and mighty, who always does an excellent job. But I'm going to speak specifically about my experiences here recently at the place, and I'm not gonna call it my name, but it has. It's alluded to in Coming to America and
McDonald's.
Yeah, McDonald's, and they have a mascot that is a clown. But that's all I'm gonna say about it. I'm not gonna call it by name. So I go to this establishment, which I've had this exact same thing happen to me multiple times, so I already know what to expect. I pull up, I order my food. I have a special order because I don't like onions, so I ask with no onions. And best believe if I see that the burger has, cheese on the burger, and you can tell that the onions have just been peeled off, I'm coming back in. And we're gonna have a problem, which has happened multiple times. But that is not my case today. What I'm chanting and ranting about this fine morning is I get to the first window where I pay. The girl says that'll be $6.53. So all I have in my wallet is 20. So I had 53 cents in the car, so I gave her 20 and my 53 cents. This girl looked at me like I had 3 heads. She was so confused. She said, "Oh, it's only $6.53." And I said, "Yeah, I know." She proceeds to try and get
you 53 cent back.
The 53. Wait, not just the 53 cent. She proceeds to give me the 53 cent, plus she done broke the 20 up. And she working overtime. And I'm sad because just plug it in. Just please plug it in into the little cash register. It's gonna tell you what to give me. It's gonna
give my $14 back. Stop playing with me. I don't want no change. I can't.
And then after that debacle, I get to the second window, and this all never fails. I love it. I love it when it happens. Get to the second window. What did you have? I said, well, I know it's up there on your screen, but this is what I ordered. They gave it to me, and the order was not correct. There was onions all over the sandwich. It's almost like they were putting extra on there on purpose. So, yeah, had to go back, deal with that. There was another situation at the same place, the same establishment, where I was with my father, and he was calling in the order, and they came back, and the girl on the other end, she clearly didn't hear him, or this was her response, huh? How you say, huh? In the drive-thru, I said, Lord, this is not off to a good start. But yeah. But they, like I said, I'm gonna end it on a good note because there is one place who has always been correct, never had a problem, never had nobody that couldn't make change. It's always been a perfect experience, and I love this place for that. And if you have a Whataburger in your city, feel blessed because Whataburger is the greatest fast food restaurant outside of Chick-fil-A. Because Chick-fil-A does an awesome job as well, even though their owner is a little out there on a couple of issues, but that's on him. But yeah, Whataburger is wonderful. They always it's always a good experience at Whataburger.
What are you doing at Whataburger?
I feel like they should be giving me money for this because I'm giving them great publicity right now.
No, I ain't never heard of Whataburger, but I don't eat them either, so that's probably one reason.
Whataburger. We found out about Whataburger when we used to go out as a family, go out and watch the Houston Comets back in their day. When my buddy Coach Chancellor was the head coach there, we used to go out there and watch them play. It was big. Whataburger's big in Texas. I guess that's where it originated. But that's what we found out about Whataburger, and ever since then, they have just spread out everywhere. And they have actually 2 down here on the coast where I live, and it's a beautiful thing. But you know, I'm supposed to be on a diet, so while I'm making myself hungry, I'm hurting myself at this point. So yeah, moving right along to our final topic of the day, I wanted to get into Shots Fired, the latest episode. Did you get a chance to watch it this week? Oh my goodness, it's getting better every week. I love it. Getting better every week. They started off with Pastor Janae, with 2 mothers of the movement, at a little TV show. And I love the parallels that they're going through. Like, as far as like this, one mother, they're both after the same thing, but both going at it in different ways. At the end, where they're talking outside and they talk about how they're, how do you get through it, and they talk about the music helps them. Both listen to the same song. They come to find out. The mother of Jesse Carr, the white mother, clearly thinks that Pastor Janae and her group have an ulterior motive in this, and they're not really giving her son the attention that he deserves. Joey Campbell's mother just seemingly happy that anybody's giving her son, some support right now. And
yeah, because nobody was even talking about it. They act like it didn't happen.
But did you notice right at the end of that moment where Joey Campbell's mother reached out to the Jesse Carr's mother and said, "Hey, I'm off on Thursdays if you ever want to get coffee."
That lady was like, hug, kiss, good luck with your life.
We'll keep it moving. Love you, but bye-bye.
I was like, she is not being supportive right now. I tried to explain that to somebody else that watched the show. It was like, wasn't that nice? I was like, no. Did you not read between the lines? That lady was like, I'm not dead fooling with you. Right. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No. And so moving on past that, you get into Officer Breland. And, last week, I know I said on here that I thought, that although he was looking like he was going to be foul, I thought it was going to be a twist and he was going to wind up being a good person. He clearly showed that that's not the case in this episode. Officer Beck, who was being brought up on charges of killing Jesse Carr, the white male that started out this whole series. He confronts Officer Breland about drugs that was placed in Jesse Carr's car, that wasn't there when he had to stop, and this, that, and the other. Want to know what the cause of that. So they have a little scuffle, and at the end of the episode, if you haven't seen it, it's a big moment. Sanaa Lathan's character Ash gets pulled over. Officer Breland winds up taking over the call on that, and basically, says, "Hey." Basically letting her know, I know about your daughter's situation where you might be losing your kid in a divorce, and you need
and
to
if
watch
you don't
yourself.
Stop bothering us,
Right.
I'm gonna make this worse than it is already for you.
Basically,
and when she started tearing up, I was like, dude, this ain't the one to go there with because she a little cray, just a little bit, and you don't make this worse. And I was mad at the reason the officer pulled her over, talking about you didn't stop at a yield or something. And I was like, last I checked, you don't stop at a yield. And then when the other officer pulled up, you didn't know what it was at first. I was like, no, what did he make a radio call for backup? And so then when he got out, I was like, oh, this been a setup from the jump. But my problem, Chantin Rantin 2.0, Ash, what's the guy name?
Preston.
They gonna stop wandering around this city by themselves, a town or whatever. They do they be out running around alone too much with the way this situation is. They be like, no, I'll go check on this by myself. No, I'll do this by myself. Y'all need to stay together as much as possible.
Right. Yeah, I love how in the middle of all this, Preston's out there making that old man nervous on the golf course. He didn't call the governor on him
for no reason.
And yeah, when they pull up, they're actually together at this point, Preston and Ash, and they're going to investigate the other old gentleman, in this old gentleman's club that they basically have where they're all, honorary deputies or whatever. And the sheriff pulls up and basically intervenes on them. In the middle.
No.
Yeah.
Not so fast.
I love the way they ended it where, and I forgot the one part where Ash goes and meets with the officer who was on site, and then they have him as being involved in the Joey Campbell murder, or at least in the area, and he's been transferred to a precinct out of town.
Hold on, in the middle of nowhere.
Right. She goes and visits him, and she clearly sees, even though he didn't give her much, she can read people. I mean, you can read it while watching the show. You can read it.
Yeah,
something else to that. And I just love at the end when Joey Campbell's mother's laying there with her son, her other son, who is now at the white school.
That's the best part.
Yes.
When he reading that research paper that he had to do.
Yes, he's reading the paper as Emmett Till. And he's going through, Emmett Till and his new roommate, Trayvon Martin, and they're having their little discussion about why they're both there in heaven. And then in comes at the end their new roommate, their new bunkmate or whatever they call it. And it happens to be Joey Campbell. But the story that he tells as he's going through that is one that's, it's a tearjerker. And
well, it didn't tearjerk me, but I was like, oh man, that was good. That was good.
But as he's reading the story, everything's going on around him. Like, it showed Beck, Officer Beck, sitting on his couch, seeing the protests going on, with Jesse Carr's protests where, basically they're calling him a killer and his wife standing behind him, all that good stuff. Then you got the officer that Ash went and interrogated or talked to at the new precinct that got transferred that was involved in Joey Campbell murder. You see him committing suicide. The Jesse Carr's mother also, evaded suicide. I don't think it was at that point, but at some point during the show, she, looked like she was going to try and commit suicide by basically smoking herself out in the garage. Sitting in the car, and then she looks in the mirror, and
I kept saying, "Don't do it, lady. Yeah. Don't you do it. So, don't you do it."
Yeah, it's getting more and more interesting by the day. I'm enjoying this.
Well, I'm getting a little mad a little bit because, number 2, besides them running around alone, why, when it hit her what they were saying early in like a couple of episodes ago about doing tours in whatever little area where the black, I guess it's a project area.
Right.
She just thought they was like, it was their time to work. When they hit her, that she was like, y'all taking these adjunct police officers on tours so they can do whatever because they rich. Why would you say that to the man? Face.
It's almost like she was so stunned that it just kind of came out. It just came out in a moment. It
didn't kind of come out because she ran on. I thought you was one of them. I'm gonna nail you. And I'm like, dude, this ain't it. You should have been like, oh, okay. You put that in your back pocket, and then add that to y'all ability board that y'all building up. But I was like, they just. And I guess it's some people that will do that, but I just feel like she would be smarter than to just blurt out everything that you know. And I'm worried about the preacher lady is dirty. I'm worried.
Yes,
because she got in trouble with the man that killed that boy.
Yeah, the officer, I can't even remember his name, but it comes out that the guy that the young man that saw everything that they've been hiding out actually identifies who is the one that killed Joey Campbell. And at the end of the episode, he's the big donor for the education fund
that want to open a private prison.
Right. And at the end of the episode, you see Pastor Janae get in the car with him, and I said, "Oh, didn't see that one. Didn't see that."
And she didn't look scared or intimidated, and she got in the car, and I was like, "Lord, she dirty."
She just fixed.
They might just be trying to trick me.
She just fixed her little skirt and sat on down, like, "Hey."
Like, this ain't good. And my spirit was troubled. So that was troubling. Again, this has been. It's been pleasantly like a good show. Like I didn't know what to expect. I thought it would be, good seeing the perspective of like, okay, what happens if a black guy shoots a white kid? But then they just have went so far beyond that. I'm like, okay, let's keep going on this ride and see where we go.
Yeah, it's a ride that I'm not wanting to get off on yet. I'm enjoying what's going down each episode. So can't wait for this week. Because this week, Jesse Carr's mother actually confronts Officer Beck. So
she better sit down somewhere. Yeah. Officer Beck needs to come clean. He needs to see right now that these people are not on your side. While they saying whatever. And while you trying to go in and fight this man, I don't know what he was thinking on that. But
yeah, his brothers in arms are not there for him. So he needs to go ahead and I think he will. Him and Preston look like they have a little meeting or a talk coming up in the previews for the next episode. So hopefully, we get some clarity on really what his thoughts are.
Well, when he ran into him when they was running,
I was just about to say
like, that. You should have just kept running then, because I was like, I'm not following you. I'm like, really? Who says that?
Yeah.
And why are you running in that part of town in some woods and you new to the area? Once more and again, that's a good way for you to come up missing. I'm just saying.
Tell him. Oh, now is we finished or is we done?
Is we finished or is we done?
Well, yeah. So it's gonna be interesting. I can't wait to see where this goes. Empire comes back this week, so I'll get to see Shots Fired and Empire back to back, new episodes. So that'll be nice. Fox is doing something.
Where Empire been?
They took a hiatus last week. I don't know for what reason, but yeah, they took a hiatus last week. They showed an old episode last week. So.
Well, yeah, Fox is doing it big, folks. Looking forward to it. This is futuristic, but Marlon Wayans got a new show coming out called Marlon. OMG, look up the trailer. I think it's gonna be awesome.
Oh wow, I gotta check it out. I hadn't heard anything about this. Gotta go.
Oh yeah, it's coming out in August, according to the trailer. So that looks like that's gonna be good. We're getting close to summer. The Justice League, Wonder Woman. Have you seen the trailer for Thor?
Yes.
She's like, yes, I worked with him.
Yes, that's going.
Everybody like, what? Why are you not scared of the Incredible Hulk? I love that trailer. It's hilarious.
Yeah, that's gonna be.
Yes, we work together. Really? I'm like, the Hulk don't remember nothing. He just trying to bam people. The Hulk smash. That's all he about. So that's coming out this summer. Her Fate of the Furious had good reviews.
It's kicking butt in the box office.
And
I know that's the Dwayne Johnson effect, but still.
Right. Should be fun. Should be a fun movie summer.
Yes, I'm excited. Looking forward to it. But I think that's gonna wrap us up for today. As always, I'm one of your co-hosts, Brian McKay, and I am with
T. It is great to be a Florida Gator Davis.
And welcome back. And this has been the Mackay T Show podcast. Thank you for listening.
This is the Mackay T Show. This is the Mackay T Show. We talk movies and TV shows, sports and world news, coasting like on a world cruise. Hosted by Brian McKay and T Davis. Yeah. You can't tame us. We're going to the top, we're becoming famous.
What time is it?
It's time for the Mackay T Show.
What time is it?
I said it's time for the Mackay T Show.